Hi and welcome to Green Taylor's Balance Forward Procedure. Today we'll be trying to show you how to do a backup and also do a financial year end in MYOB accounting. The version doesn't really matter. The software has been very similar for a number of years, so the one we're using today is actually MYOB Accounting 18, but you'll find it similar in any other MYOB accounting software. Before ever doing a year end balance forward, you should always do a backup. To backup, you simply go up to the file, up in the menu, down to backup. One of the things here is you've got a choice of either backing up all data or doing a company file only. I generally only do a company file only. If you're doing backups and you're worried about losing your invoices at some stage, you may want to do a backup all data, but generally backing up the company file is sufficient. Always check for errors. Do the check company file for errors tick. This may default for you. If it doesn't, you can change that in the setup menu. But it's very important to always do this, as there's no use backing up rubbish. You always want to make sure your backup's useful. We're just using the Clearwater file today, so it's been pretty quick at running through that. As you can see, there's no errors found in this file. If there were to be errors, it would give you a log file to go and look at. Generally, it's very rare to find errors unless you've got some major corruption. The next window coming up here, this may vary according to your operating system, but it just gives you it's going to, in this case, back up to a folder under the MYOB 18 folder called backup. Down the bottom, the MYOB will default to a file name just being called MYOB and then today's current date. I personally always change this, and you may have a rotating backup of the number, either the day of the week, or in this case I always have one called year end, and then in this example we might call it 2010. Just signifying it's actually for the year end 2010 backup. If you've got multiple companies, it may be worthwhile putting a name in there as well. We just hit the save key at this stage. That's backing up the data, and that's been successful. Now the backup will automatically happen, and you will be prompted at the start of the balance forward process, but personally I've always just got used to doing them manually by myself. To do the year end procedure, we simply go File, Start New Year, and if you're running the payroll version, you would have actually had a choice there of whether you want to start a new payroll year or financial year. In this case, this version is the MYOB accounting, it doesn't have payroll. Comes up with this screen again. It's prompting, do you want to do a backup at this stage? And you always should do a backup. Due to the nature of the year end, will actually remove details of certain entries, so you always need to make sure you do have that backup. Simply we hit continue. It's going through, it's just telling you what's going to be happening with this backup. We click continue. It's going to show you the year we're going to balance forward into, so in this case we're actually balancing forward into the 2010 year. If for some reason you haven't balanced forward for a number of years, I would not strongly suggest you actually back up each year, year by year. It's just showing the last month of the current financial year and how many periods. Most people will have them defaulted when they set their computer up originally. In this case we'll click continue. It's just saying whether you want to keep any entries to do undeposited funds and also electronic payments. I always just keep that information. Continue. It's going to purge your audit trail entries. Again, we can click continue. A lot of these things will just default, so you just continue tend to be. It's a key question. Do you want to keep closed transactions from prior financial years? By ticking that box, it won't actually delete the detail, which sort of in some ways defeats the purpose of doing the backup, so I would generally recommend you do leave that unticked in this case. Continue. It's going through. This is just looking for unreconciled entries, so you look at your bank accounts. I would normally tick any bank accounts that are on there. It shows when they're allowed to reconciled as well, but for any entries that have not yet been reconciled under a bank rec, it won't actually delete those details, so you can actually drill back into them. It's handy if you've got checks that have been sitting there for a couple of years, gives you a chance to deal with them after the year end. Continue. It's now coming up with a last sort of warning. This is actually going to start a new financial year, so if you're happy to continue, we click start new financial year. It goes through, it's doing a purge of entries, doing some adjustments. Depending on the size of your data file, that could go for a number of minutes. There have been situations where on older versions and on slower computers I've seen that run for an hour or two, but generally nowadays I would expect it to probably run through within about at the most 10 to 20 minutes. And that's successfully put us into the next year. So check which year you're actually currently in. We can go Setup, Company Information, and you can see down the bottom here it's got the current financial year. So we're actually in the 2010 current financial year. Hope that's been a benefit, and hope to see you next time.